What's up, guys? Comic Book Debate here, and today we want to talk about Jason Momoa finally seeing the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So, if you guys follow Jason Momoa at Pride of Gypsies, Jason went to visit Zack Snyder on the set of Army of the Dead, and he met Zack and basically wanted to show appreciation for him because Zack really did jumpstart his career and gave him a film to do after Game of Thrones. And of course, getting a role like Aquaman, a guy like Jason, that's a big deal. And so it jumpstarted his career. And obviously, we saw Aquaman, how much success it had in theaters, making $1 billion. Jason came up to Albuquerque to meet Zack, and he mentioned that Zack showed him the Snyder Cut. And as a token of appreciation, he gave Zack a gift, which is an extremely expensive camera. But the interesting thing here I think fans are interested in is the fact that he saw the Snyder Cut and that he shouted it out, given the fact that he has 13 million followers. So this just got really big, and a lot of people don't know about the Snyder Cut, are finally going to be looking for it and Google searching it. So there's a lot to talk about. So first thing is, Zion, I'll start with you. What was your reaction when you saw Jason Momoa posted this?
Honestly, it was so insane seeing this. I mean, the last time we heard Jason talk about it, he was asked a question about it, but him just putting a huge Instagram post about seeing it, which validates it, and just making it public out there, like you said, it'll bring huge traction. I think just it's an insane thing that he did that, and we'll see the rippling effect from this. I think good for him. He's a great guy, and I can't wait to see what happens now with the Snyder Cut going forward.
And you saw how he started it with the first two words was Snyder Cut,
Exactly, yeah.
Granted, he spelled it wrong, but we'll hold. He's probably really excited. Why he shared it is the interesting thing, and why now? So my theory is that, of course, things are moving, and Zack is working with Netflix right now, and Jason is obviously doing prep for Aquaman 2 eventually. There's still some time between then and Aquaman 2, but there's some prep time in the middle. So it's interesting to think that what's the timing of it, and obviously, as we know, he's helping Zack out, and he wants to give Zack that boost, because honestly, even though Zack gave Jason Momoa this job, right now Jason Momoa is a bigger star than Zack Snyder. He's arguably the biggest star in the DCEU. It's not even close that he brought $1 billion film. So he's the big man on campus in a sense when it comes to DC, and Warner Brothers has a lot of respect for him. They actually signed him for a brand new deal. So obviously there's a lot of respect for Jason. So if anyone has power and pull at Warner Brothers right now, especially in someone with Zack's corner, it's going to be Jason Momoa. So I thought it's very interesting that he shared and he's supporting Zack. It's a cool thing to see.
Well, I think it goes back to what he actually said in the video. Like obviously, he feels as if Zack Snyder really helped him in his career, and personally he feels that Zack Snyder did not do that, then he probably wouldn't be where he's at. So that's kind of it's loyalty, right? It's loyalty and friendship. And I'm sure, like he said, the MTV video interview. He wants to see it. We have our first review for the Snyder Cut,
yeah,
which is that it's sick and it's good or whatever. And I mean, that's good to see. And now it's with a big name actor just acting and this is what Jason Momoa has always been. He acted like the Snyder Cut was always real. He never acted oh, there's some gray area. In one interview, he was yeah, in Zack's cut, this is where we left off. In another video, he's yeah, I'm obsessed with the Snyder Cut. I want to see it. And now he's now he wants to see Zack. And he said the Snyder Cut is sick, and that he's basically telling the world, yo, it exists. Go after it.
Yeah, it shuts down a lot of what you call the bloggers and other critics and people who are still, and surprising 2 years later, people still think, some people in the media, that the Snyder Cut doesn't exist. And from my understanding, that some people, I've heard this from some people, that Warner Brothers actually really feeds this information to different people. So there's people at Warner Brothers who will tell different critics and different bloggers that, no, there's no Snyder Cut. So, and then they just believe the studio, because the studio said it doesn't exist, so it doesn't exist. But when so many people,
especially people who've worked on it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who's worked on it. I mean, just start with people who came on our own podcast, people who we know personally, professionally, and as a friendship level, that they were telling us this. It's on our podcast. There's nothing new. And this, obviously, Zack shares things every day on Vero. So the idea that if it exists or not is never a question. Yeah, there is a debate about how much there is left to fix and what's the CGI level needed. That's a whole different conversation. But the fact that it exists is something that should be taken as fact. And Jason just threw that out there for 13 million people to see.
People have their mind made up, anyways. Like,
Yeah.
Like people that don't want it, like they just don't care enough.
And which I mean,
now you can't deny.
They weren't really happy about like Vision, anyways. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they already made their mind up, so it's nothing new, right?
Exactly.
And Jason was the other side of the coin, where he's like, I mean, obviously he worked on the film, and he's freaking Aquaman. And he said himself like many different times where it's a prereq for him that it exists. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not even like how some of the other actors have kind of been silent on it. He's been very like straight up about it.
It speaks to loyalty and friendship, and honestly, he's a nice guy, right? That's at the end.
Yeah, you're right. He's a pretty nice guy. Like when we met him last October at Comic Con, we were taking the pictures. He took us off to the side after we took the pictures, and he told us more about Aquaman, and yeah, he was pretty impressed. It really shows how much he cares about Aquaman and his fans.
That he's just a nice guy. Like that's the main thing. Like he's one of those people. He's like a people person, and not everyone is like that. You know, especially when it comes to acting in Hollywood. Everyone is so centered on themselves and their own career. Like this guy doesn't even care. And the difference between him, like you know, Ray Fisher also cares, but the difference between Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa is that Jason pulled off $1 billion film, which means now he has power. Something that
you got a chance, right? You got a chance.
Exactly. So he's using that privilege, like he got a chance to be the big man for a huge movie. So now he's using that leverage back and saying, listen, this is a guy who kind of got the very short end of the stick. And this is not the first time Jason has done that. Like he did it a few weeks ago, right? Now he did it for the helping, like he leverages his point as being Aquaman, like for the point when for Hawaii when they're building that
the telescope on the sacred mountain,
on the sacred mountain for his culture. Right away, he said that I won't even be Aquaman if they're gonna keep building it. So this shows that he really is that kind of guy who will go the extra mile for his culture, for his people. His
principles and his values are more than just the money.
Yeah, he puts his values first. So that's credit to Jason for that. And then in terms of the Snyder Cut, like we all said, that it's gonna be a grind to get it out, but having a guy like Jason be at the forefront is definitely gonna help.
Yeah, it puts more pressure on Warner Brothers than like any fan initiative would. I feel in that sense, because as such a big name, as a big guy in Warner Brothers' corner, but also Zack's corner, that bridge is like a good connection to get like more movement going in the Snyder Cut and in terms of the studio.
What do you guys think about Jason Momoa seeing the Snyder Cut and basically, to use Umer's quote, basically giving his own review of it, being the first person to review the Snyder Cut, and just shooting it out there for 13 million people? Do you think this is going to escalate the chance of the Snyder Cut coming out? Let us know in the comments below. And just letting you guys know, we have Fabian Wagner coming next on our podcast. So be sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications to be the first ones to listen to that podcast when it comes out. And if you guys have any questions you want to ask him, let us know in the comments below and we might just pick your question. From the Faruqi Bros, we'll see you next time. Peace out.